Our first story takes place on a cold evening in a quiet neighborhood. A stray dog, skinny and shivering, walked into a grocery store parking lot. Most people ignored him, assuming he was just another stray, but then he did something unusual. Instead of rummaging through trash or barking for food, he gently tugged at a woman's coat as she loaded groceries into her car. At first she was startled, but when she looked down, she saw his pleading eyes and the paw he rested softly on her knee. Something about that moment struck her heart. Instead of pushing him away, she followed his lead. The dog began to walk, stopping every few steps to look back, as though asking her to come with him. She did. What she discovered shocked her. Around the corner, hidden behind bushes, were 4 tiny puppies huddled together, barely a few days old. Their mother, exhausted and desperate, had asked for help in the only way she knew how. That woman scooped up the puppies and took them all home, saving their lives. Later, she admitted that it wasn't she who rescued them, but rather, the mother dog who found the courage to ask for help that night. Then there was the story of a dolphin off the coast of Hawaii. Divers were exploring the reef when suddenly a wild dolphin swam directly toward them. At first, they thought it was just curious, but soon they realized something was wrong. The dolphin twisted and turned awkwardly, staying close to one diver in particular. When he looked closer, he saw the problem. Fishing line was tightly wrapped around the dolphin's fin, cutting deep into its skin. Instead of swimming away in fear, the dolphin stayed, patiently waiting as if begging the diver to free it. The diver carefully pulled out his scissors and began cutting away the line. The dolphin remained still, allowing the human to work. Once freed, the dolphin circled the divers in what seemed like a gesture of gratitude before disappearing into the deep blue sea. To this day, the divers recall it as one of the most moving experiences of their lives, proof that animals know when to ask and when to trust. In India, a thirsty elephant wandered into a small village during an unbearable heatwave. The villagers were terrified at first, thinking the giant might destroy their crops or homes. But instead, the elephant knelt down near a well and stretched its trunk toward a man holding a bucket. The man realized the animal wasn't there to harm anyone. It was simply dying of thirst. Slowly, the villagers gathered, bringing buckets and barrels of water. They poured them into large containers and the elephant drank deeply, its eyes closing in relief. Far from being an enemy, the villagers saw the elephant as a fellow being in need, and they gave all they could until it had enough strength to walk back into the forest. Another extraordinary story happened in a busy city where traffic was at its peak. A small injured cat, unable to move, sat in the middle of the road. Cars swerved, honked, and sped past, but one motorcycle rider stopped. He picked up the cat and placed it gently on the side of the road. But then, to his surprise, the cat weakly crawled toward him, pressing its tiny head against his shoe. It wasn't just relief, it was gratitude. The rider couldn't bring himself to leave the helpless creature behind. He rushed it to a veterinary clinic where it was treated for multiple injuries. Weeks later, the same cat, now healed and full of life, was adopted by the very man who stopped that day. He always said it was the cat who chose him, not the other way around. Perhaps one of the most powerful stories comes from a farmer who once found a horse stuck in a muddy ditch. The animal had been struggling for hours, too weak to get out. Most people would have assumed the horse was done for, but this farmer knelt beside it, speaking softly. The horse stopped thrashing and simply looked at him, as though asking for help. With ropes, planks, and sheer determination, the farmer and his neighbors worked tirelessly until the horse was free. As soon as it stood, instead of running off in fear, the horse turned and nuzzled the farmer's shoulder. It was a moment of connection that the man said he would never forget. Animals ask for help in ways that may not be obvious at first. A crow with its wing caught in wires once hopped directly toward a group of children playing in a park. Instead of flying away in panic, it cawed loudly until the kids noticed. They ran to get an adult, and together they carefully freed the bird. When it flew away, it circled overhead for a long while, as though saying goodbye and thank you. The children never forgot it, and that one moment changed how they saw every animal after that day. Another heartwarming case happened when a dog scratched at the door of a stranger's house, refusing to leave. When the homeowner opened the door, the dog grabbed her sleeve and tried to pull her outside. At first, she thought it was odd, but she followed. The dog led her down the street to where a small kitten was stuck in a drain, crying for help. The stranger and her husband managed to rescue the kitten, and only after ensuring it was safe did the dog finally wag its tail and run off, as though its mission was complete. No one knows where that dog came from or where it went, but for that one night, it was an angel. Not only pets, but wild animals too have shown this astonishing ability. In one remote forest area, a hiker came across a bear cub trapped with its paw stuck under a fallen log. At first, he froze in fear, worried the mother might be nearby. But then he realized the cub wasn't aggressive at all. It whined softly, pawing at the ground as if asking him to help. The hiker carefully used a branch as leverage and rolled the log away. The cub scrambled free and ran off, but not before pausing and looking back one last time. The hiker swore the look in its eyes was unforgettable. In a similar story, a swan in England approached a group of passers-by, flapping awkwardly. They noticed it wasn't trying to scare them off but rather lead them somewhere. They followed and discovered its partner tangled in a fence. The group worked together to free the trapped swan. What followed stunned them. The freed swan waddled back to its mate, and the two touched heads in what looked like a tender embrace. Witnessing this love and loyalty moved the people to tears. One of the most viral moments ever captured was of a stray dog in Turkey who ran onto the street as an ambulance was driving by. The dog barked and pawed at the ambulance until the driver stopped. Confused, the paramedics got out and followed the dog, who led them to its injured owner lying unconscious by the roadside. Thanks to the dog's persistence, the man received treatment in time and survived. It was a reminder that animals not only ask for help, but sometimes they beg for others, showing compassion that rivals any human act. The bond of kindness isn't always about life and death. Sometimes it's as simple as recognition. A lost parrot once flew into a busy cafe and landed on a woman's shoulder. Instead of flying away in fear, it stayed, repeating a name over and over. The woman realized it must be someone's pet. She posted online and within hours, the owner was found. The reunion was emotional beyond words, with the bird chirping happily in its owner's arms. By flying into that cafe, the parrot had essentially asked strangers to help it find home again. Even sea turtles, usually shy and distant, have shown signs of this. Divers once encountered a turtle with a plastic ring cutting into its shell. Instead of swimming away, the turtle stayed nearby, almost motionless. It allowed the divers to carefully cut away the plastic and then swam gracefully into the ocean, finally free. Watching it disappear into the blue, the divers felt a powerful sense of connection, as if the ocean itself had thanked them. What all these stories teach us is something profound. Animals may not speak our language, but they communicate with us in ways that transcend words. A look in their eyes, a gesture of trust, a cry for help, these are the universal signals of life reaching out to life. When we respond with kindness, we bridge a gap that many think cannot be crossed. Think about it, how many times have we walked past a stray, or ignored a bird struggling with string, or dismissed the cry of an animal in distress? These stories remind us that compassion is not just a choice, it's a responsibility. The courage of these animals to ask for help is matched only by the courage of those who responded. And maybe that's the real lesson here. That kindness is never wasted. When we help an animal, we don't just save their life, we also heal a part of ourselves. We remind ourselves of the beauty of connection, the purity of trust, and the simple truth that every living being deserves compassion. As we end this journey through these incredible moments, let us carry one thought with us. If an animal can trust us enough to ask for help, then surely we can find it in ourselves to respond with kindness. Because in the end, the measure of humanity is not in how we treat each other alone, but in how we treat those who have no voice but still have a heart that beats, feels, and hopes. So next time you see an animal in need, don't look away. Pause, listen, and perhaps you'll realize, they might just be asking you for help. And answering that call could be one of the most unforgettable moments of your life.